Just 5 different ducks. 5 different ducks. And if you want to send one person up, grab a piece of paper and some drawing materials.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
Can we check what's the point is? Okay. They're still good.
Sorry, Allie.
It's fun. It's fun. Oh, we're getting it.
Just a piece of paper. Cool. Does everyone feel good? Like thumbs up?
In your past life? Or right now.
Okay, so for reference, you all are like 9 and 10 years old. So some of the things I say is kind of obvious. Just keep in mind that you're like quite a bit younger, if that's cool. And I actually want to start by showing this map right here. Does anyone know what this is a map of? You can shout it out.
Salish Sea.
This is the Salish Sea. This is the region that we live in. Does anyone know what part we live in? Canada. Okay, we live right up here. But the Salish Sea extends from the Puget Sound all the way up to Canada, and it is a really cool ecosystem because it's super biodiverse. If you've heard the word biodiverse before, give me a jellyfish. Awesome, that's super cool. Biodiversity means that the ecosystem has a ton of different species that all work together to be super happy and healthy, which is really awesome. And today I want to talk about a certain subset of those species that live in the Salish Sea, and that is marine invertebrates. So everyone, touch your back for a second and feel the poker parts. That's your spine, and that is vertebrae. So when you think of the word marine invertebrate, what do you think that means? You can shout it out.
No spine.
No spine, yeah.
In the ocean.
And they live in the ocean, exactly. So these types of animals don't have a spine. They either have an exoskeleton or a shell or some other sort of protection methods. And I'm just focusing on these today because I think there's a lot of really cool traits that some of these animals have that help them be successful animals in this ecosystem to create a very biodiverse and happy area. And you are going to have the opportunity to create your own marine invertebrate today through an auction style. So I have 10 different examples of marine invertebrates and a trait that they have. And they're all local to the Salish Sea. Your group is going to be able to pick out 2 of these cards, and then you're going to create your own animal thinking about how those 2 traits would interact to make them successful. We're doing this auction style. Raise your hand if you've done an auction before. Awesome. So I will give a quick explanation about each animal, and then we'll open bidding. You all get to bid on it. The highest bidder gets that trait, and you'll each end up with 2 by the end. Does that make sense?
What are we bidding?
That is a great question. Everyone on your piece of paper, write 100 in one of the top corners. You can join any group. The number doesn't really matter. So 100 is the amount of money you have. We're going to call them sand dollars today. And then you're responsible for keeping track of how much money you have left. But you are allowed to bid as much as you want up to 100, making sure that you're keeping track and being honest. Sound good? Do you think you're ready to start? Thumbs up. Amazing. So our first trait is going to be chromatophores. What is this a picture of? A giant Pacific octopus, exactly. And these animals are really, really good at camouflaging. There's a lot of different reasons why you can camouflage. But the main one octopi use is to be like super sneaky and hide from prey so then they can snatch them up. And the way these work, the chromatophores are actually a type of cell, and these cells can flatten really, really small, and then they become reflective when they flatten, kind of like a frisbee, so then they can like mirror whatever color or texture is underneath them. It's super cool. If you are that's straight up expensive. We are gonna open the bid at $10 sand dollars. Do we have 10? 10. Anyone higher?
15.
15. 20? Going once.
25.
25.
27.
27. Going once.
29.
29. Once, twice, sold.
Wait, no. That was so good. I was like, I could do that. Like, anyways, that's fine.
Okay, our next trait is external digestion. This is a sea star. You've probably all seen sea stars in the intertidal zone when you visit the beach. And sea stars eat in a really, really interesting way. In the very center of their body, the center of the star, they have their stomach. And when they are ready to eat, they climb on top of whatever they're eating, and their stomach actually exits their body, engulfs whatever they're eating, and then sucks it back up into their body, which is really cool. It's very unusual, and it allows them to digest while it's still outside of their body, which really sucks up all of the nutrients of whatever they're eating. So we are also going to start this bid at $10 sand dollars if you're interested.
Let's do 15.
15. I think it's sold too. This next one is tenedium. It's a really, really weird word. Does anyone know what this picture is of in front?
Is that a gooey duck?
It's a gooey duck. A gooey duck is a really popular bivalve in this region. Everyone go like this with your hands. A bivalve is an animal that's engulfed by two different shells, like a gooey duck or a clam or anything like that. And then if you open up, there's a little animal inside. This is the gooey duck shell, and then that's its kind of inside part. It goes upside down right there. But these are still aerobic animals, which means they still have to have oxygen to breathe. And the way a tenedium works is they extract water from the ocean in these little gills that they have on the sides of their shells. It's kind of like tiny filaments. So they're like little pokey tentacles that are sticking outside, and they absorb all of that oxygen and then it enters their bloodstream through that. So every animal needs to breathe. This is a really cool way to breathe because you have these fancy little filaments, and it's really crucial to survival. So if you would like to be able to breathe, we're going to open this option at $10 sand dollars. 10, 20, 22, 30. Sold for And keep in mind, once you have two trait cards, we're going to leave it be so that everyone can identify. Does that make sense? This next one is nematocytes, which is really cool. This is what makes a jellyfish sting and a lot of different animals sting. Nematocytes are a special kind of cells, and they produce this gunk called nematocysts, and that squirts out when an animal feels threatened, and then that stings whatever they're trying to sting because they're scared of them. So it's a great defense mechanism. Definitely scares people away. I don't know if you've ever been stung by a jellyfish, but it hurts. And it's a really special thing. We're gonna open it up at 10.
20,
50.
55.
55. 60. Sold for 60.
I panicked.
Okay, this next one is jet propulsion. Can anyone tell what that animal is?
Squid.
It's a squid. It's kind of hard to tell. But squids are able to move super fast through the water. And the way that they're able to do that is they have this head right here, and it's actually an empty cavity. It's kind of like a fishbowl, like this. And they can absorb a ton of water, suck it up into the fishbowl, and then they shoot it all out, and they propel themselves forward. And they go super fast, which is helpful for multiple things. They can move away very quickly from things that are trying to eat them, and they can also move really quickly towards things that they're trying to eat. So it's helpful for multiple different reasons. We're going to open it up at 15 this time.
85.
85.
I think it's sold right there. This next one is Bioluminescence. Put your hand on your head if you've seen bioluminescence before. Awesome. There's multiple different animals that use bioluminescence in the Salish Sea. Some of them live in the deep sea where we can't see them, but there's also a lot of phytoplankton that are called, a specific kind are called, let me make sure I get this pronunciation right. Digoflatus? And those are the kind that you normally see in like July and August during that bloom. And they hit up against the waves, and then they have these special cells in their body that react to movement, and they light up. There can be multiple reasons why animals do this. People aren't quite sure for the reason, but a lot of them use it to communicate. A lot of them use it again as a defense mechanism to scare things away when they light up. And also, they just look pretty to humans, which is really cool. And it's cool. We're gonna open it up at 10. 30, 40, 50, 60. Sold for 60. Okay, this next one is venom. This is a sea anemone. This is really similar to nematocyst, but it's a different method of ways that you can sting things. This sea anemone actually has an adrenal system, just like humans do. They produce hormones, and they have these like special nerve rings in the center that produce ectodermal gland cells, which means they can switch what type of venom they want to release based on the situation they're in. They have many different kinds based on a different concoction of hormones that they can shoot out based on the situation. So it's very helpful in multiple different survival situations. We're gonna open it up at 15.
30.
30.
40.
40.
50.
50.
55.
60.
60. Go once.
65.
Sold.
67.
67.
68.
70.
70 sold.
No, we don't.
This next one is radioles. This is really common in sea worms. This is a sea worm right here. This also exists in the intertidal zone, so you might be able to find them when you go tide pooling or when you're at the beach during low tide. This is also a respiratory organ, just like the tenedium, which means it helps an animal breathe. But they also are able to use these to eat because it's these fancy fluffy tentacles right here, which absorb oxygen and enter the bloodstream, just like with the tenedium. But they also are super, super sticky, so they can catch like algae and different food inside the tentacles, and then they absorb that too. So this is a really interesting organ because it has multiple different functions, which is really good for survival. We're gonna start it at 15. 15. Sold.
Wait, are there only 2 left now?
There's 2. Raise your hand if you already have 2 cards.
Oh. What's up, guys?
This is a radula. This is also called a scraping tongue, which means that it is very common on different sea snails. This is a sea snail right here. It's an abalone snail. And it's this big muscle right here that scrapes against the ground. If you move your tongue around in your mouth right now, it feels very smooth and not at all pokey. A radula is the exact opposite. There's a ton of tiny different teeth that are all along the tongue, and they move in different directions. So when they're scraping against the seafloor, they're able to catch all of the algae that is all around them. The teeth can move in different directions and do all of these cool things to absorb all of this algae, and it is therefore very nutrient dense. I'm gonna open it up at 20. It's given to this group. Congratulations.
She's got a good personality.
So, sessile is the last trait which you all are going to be, which means you are stuck to worm surface. You're connected to some sort of rock or something, like a barnacle, which is right here. This is definitely not the flashiest of traits, but it's actually really, really helpful for survival because you just get to hang out and you're usually in a place where like waves are crashing up against you. So all of the food and anything you would ever need is just like coming right at you. You don't even have to move. You're just like taking in all those phytoplankton, all that food, and it can actually be super helpful. Okay, now that you all have 2 traits, you can take your blank piece of paper, and I want you to create your own animal, focusing on how the 2 traits that you have would interact with each other to be as successful. There's more information on the back of your cards if you need them. And then also create a name. Draw your name.
Octopus is like vampire. You want to do orange is like a winter color, but it was also a metaphor, so it could be anything. Right. It can also have lots of tentacles. Or it could have like an anemone mouth or something. You can put wings on it. Or like, don't use the little sea slash that kind of like little bird. Yeah. Cool little thing that just like float around.
And the part where the jet like
I mean, like, what else besides
How much time do we have to do?
Like 5 minutes.
there's some stuff in the sequel that looks like a fever dream, so doesn't have to be anatomically correct. Yeah, I think you should just make it. Like a couple of tentacles at the back or something. Called murder. And then like maybe yes, yeah, and then and then I think like an enemy kind of.
Okay, about 3 more minutes to wrap up. Make sure you give your animal a
Do we want this to
name.
be his mouth? Yeah, I think
Yeah, I don't know, I do a thing. So, water.
and then
And then,
what if he has like his eyes he has spikes on the end. Making noises together.
1.5 more minutes.
This doesn't look like a wing at all. Yeah, like a big like loopy.
Because stomachs have teeth now. It goes out, so it's like inside out, right?
Yeah, so then it's like got really spots.
Split the other way. And then, right, so it's got barbs in the inside. So the barbs are going out, three-dimensional effect.
That's his
So it
foot.
grab onto things and then pull it in, and then it comes in. Yeah, rolls back.
I was gonna say we should make like lines, like be like, but I think that might.
He likes spiky. I mean, here's an anglerfish. That thing is terrifying. So,
5 years old, will keep finding me now.
oh yeah.
New fear unlocked.
Okay, put your hands on your head. Put your hands on your shoulders. Put your hands on your knees. Put your hands on your toes. Put your hands in your lap. Does everyone feel ready that you finished your animal? Every animal has a name and a picture. Give 30 seconds to think of a name. Super quick.
A ninniber.
I love that.
Wait, you have an eye, because otherwise it's like
Awesome! So, we are now going to do a little bit of a gallery walk presentation type thing, where each group is going to be able to show us your picture and your name and explain why you created the animal that you did. Does anyone feel jazzed about going first? I do. Awesome. No, it's okay. We can go in anyway.
Alright, so these are our radical barnacles. If you can see, they're all stuck on a rock. The traits that we got were
The radial and the tassel.
and so like the sessels are like stuck on the rock and like the food just comes to them. And then like the radials, they have little out branching parts that like things stick to. And then we named each of them individually. This is Ferdinand, this is Junior, this is Rachel, this is Daniel, this is Felicia, and this is Shelly.
Nice. Give them a round of applause. Okay, you all.
Alright, so this is the murder jellyfish. It's got teeth and a helmet. because we have these traits, you know, the toothy sponge and a jellyfish. So naturally, we would make a very, very aggressive jellyfish. It does not like to be touched or eaten, and it will scratch you with its teeth and then sting you. And you can't bite it either because it's got a helmet on, which will in turn just break your own teeth. So, it's amazing.
Give them some snacks.
Okay, we have the Tooth Stomach Blaster 9000. Okay, so it's like, what do we have?
We have jet propulsion and external digestion.
We put them together and we got this. So we've got, this is the jet propulsion, so it sucks in water to this pouch so it can expand like a turkey baster head. And then when it's ready to go, shoot forward, it squeezes and compresses, and then it shoots out the back to like propel it forward. Also, it's a chasing down predator, so it'll chase after you until you're tired and you die. And so then when it gets to you, it's got its stomach, which has teeth inside of it for this valve. And so when it gets to its prey, this little fish being like, ah, it'll shoot out its stomach with like, it's got like all the teeth on the inside of the pouch, and then it'll flip outside with all the teeth on the outside, and it'll grab you and pull you into its stomach, and then it'll digest you. So,
Nice.
that's
Give them some hand warmers.
We had conidium, and then we also had bioluminescence. So we have Hank, who is a glowing gooey duck. Essentially, these are his little breathing filaments over here that are inside, and then this is a raccoon who's coming to eat Hank. These are Hank's little bioluminescent swirls, that he shoots one direction and then he runs away the other way. So, yeah.
Nice. Let's do firecracker claps for them.
This is a nano branchy puss, and we had the camouflage and venom. So yes, you can think of that. This creature, as you can see, we've somehow gotten sea slugs, and so we use it as a body. We have the tentacles of the octopus and mouth of the anemone. This creature can camouflage itself and will leave one tentacle as a lure and then poison the fish that comes to eat it thinking it's a worm, and then it'll bring it over to its mouth.
Nice. Give them some nice waves. Awesome. I loved all your animals, and I think they will all be super successful. Just as a check-in, thumbs up or thumbs down, do you think your animals would be successful in the Salish?
Yes.
Awesome. Do you think they would increase the biodiversity of the Salish? Did you have fun?
Oh my God.
Okay, awesome. I think that's everything. Thank you all for being such great participants. Give yourselves a round. And if you all could return some various writing utensils and the traits, you can keep your animal card if you'd like it. But the character trait cards will be awesome.
Take a picture.